Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are through to the Fight Ganon Fight channel. I am your host, and I'm hoping that this will be the last video I do for Digimon Universe app monsters, at least for this month. Though I've no doubt that I'll be doing more on this as more details come out, and knowing my luck, by the time I actually publish this, more information will have dropped, and I'll have to cover that. But in the original videos, I was very dismissive of the design choices for certain Digimon and for the human characters. So what I wanted to do was look at the Digimon and the human characters a bit closer, and now that higher res imagery of the Digimon has been released, I have names and new favorites. Yeah, I'm not joking. I've decided that one of them is going to be like an unofficial mascot for the channel. So how's that for a turnaround? Unofficial, really, in the sense that I know Bandai would never give me the legit backing for it, but mascot for the channel nonetheless. And you can probably guess which one. We'll get to that. Anyway, I figured we'd start with the new artwork that has come out, then go to the humans, using the image we got from the trailer the other day. So let us begin. First up, Kotchman. Kotchman, a social type Digimon with the search attribute, as made obvious not just by the magnifying glass on his Shoutmon inspired headpiece, but also the magnifying glass on his tail. I've said since the designs were first shown that I rather like this design, mostly I think because of my Shoutmon bias. But I think on closer inspection, I really do like the robotic claws and feet. It's very different to what we've had with past protagonist partner Digimon, where, you know, they're usually little dinosaurs or something along those lines. But I mean, with the Agumon, as well as Gilmon and Vmon, you know, they're always basically these dinosaur dragonic type looking Digimon, where this is sort of kind of has that feel to it, but with metal claws and feet. So that's pretty cool. He also looks like he'd be kind of mischievous, so that's always good, you know. He'd just be maybe not brazen, but at least cheeky, you know, so I think that'd be cool. His fusion form, Doe Cmon, is also pretty awesome looking. As I said before, that's probably my not bias, but it appeals to me due to my Kamen Rider or Sentai fandom, and the Doe Cmon really does look like a Kamen Rider almost. He also looks like some sort of Shoutmon Omegamon Digicross if you look at him. It's like the head is very Cross Wars 2 Shoutmon, and then the body is almost sort of Omegamon like, and that's pretty fun, but I know that's not the case. So then we have Musimon. Musimon. We don't have a type or attribute for him yet, but hey, he's the only name I actually got right in the first look video. Okay, I called him Musicmon, but come on, give me some credit, eh? Anyway, Musimon. The top-down perspective on the initial artwork is very misleading. It made him look like a head with 4 arms, but his bipedal artwork, he's pretty darn slick looking, in my opinion. From the speakers on the back of his hands and all over his clothing to the life preserver and jorts he seems to have going on. Taiki, is that you? I make that joke, but it's kind of funny. Not in a I'm laughing at my own joke sense, but more I had mentioned the lost musical element of Cross Wars with the Crossloader Digivice looking like a microphone, the Digimelodies, and even the headphones that Shoutmon and Greymon from that series wear. Something about the speaker shoulder pads and knee pads just really appeals to me. He even has them on the foot part of his boots. It might be overkill to some, I get that, but I rather like it. Even the fact that he also seems to use a conductor's baton is brilliant, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what his attacks are like, and even if the conductor's baton, like, can he wave it and shoot musical notes at people? And like, will his speakers all over his body act like Ballistamon speaker? In terms of attack. So like it'll be fun to see where he's going. I'm not pushed on his partner design, but we'll get to that. So next up, then we have Hackman. Yeah, Hackman. No, not that Hackman. This Hackman. And boy, did I mess this one up during the initial reveal. I wasn't like, it was so much information to take in at first that I really didn't look at the design properly. It didn't look like a Hackman to me, but it's clearly a Hackman. It looks more like a virus type sort of Hackman than the Royal Knight in training that we're used to. I mean, there is precedence for this. I've mentioned Falcomon and Yatagaramon and even Kudamon before in Digimon getting drastic redesigns. I mean, even keeping with the Digimon Savers theme, compare Masaru's Agumon to Taichi's Agumon, and that's a change. Not as drastic as, say, the Falcomon one, but different enough. I can't imagine that this Hackmon is a Royal Knight in training like the original. Again, he strikes me more as a Hackmon virus in regular terms. But with the blue cloak now having teeth and no goggles, with this blue flame on the hood of the cloak, and judging by his partner, who we'll also get to in a bit, I imagine he's similar to Kiriha's Greymon in terms of personality. Hard to say if that means his partner will be a Kiriha type or a Yamato type instead of... it's hard to say if this means his partner will be a Kiriha type or a Yamato type instead to Haru's Taiki or Taichi. Or maybe he'll be like an early Ken. Maybe he's the evil one, to start off the series, and then later he turns good, and maybe his Hackmon then turns into the Hackmon that we're used to, and maybe evolves naturally rather than through fusion. It'll be interesting to see. Either way, not a whole lot of new things for me to say about this Hackmon, other than I'm curious to see his motivations, and if he's obviously tied to some sort of hacking app inside his partner's app drive digivice. And then we move on to Nav Iman.
Hey, listen!
Okay. Yes, that joke was way too easy to make, but come on! Look at the name of the channel. Fight, Ganon, fight. Of course I was going to make this joke. And unsurprisingly, this little dude is the mascot I was talking about earlier. Nav Iman is our previously nicknamed GPSmon, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him dubbed as Mapmon, given that he is the Google Maps inspired Digimon. I love the pointers he has for arms, giving him like a jousting spikes arms almost. It's kind of like, how Gallantmon or Dukemon has that one arm that's a jousting spear. It's kind of like that for me. And his yellow bandana makes him stand out, as do the fact he has wheels for feet. I didn't even notice that before. It's like he has wheels for feet. So when you look up Google Maps and it's like, okay, you can get here. Driving will take you, I like that a lot. His Kamen Rider style sort of callback, I have to go back to again, because even his belt buckle looks like a henshin device or like a morpher on a Sentai. I just like, design wise, he's my favorite of the bunch. Something with the green and the red with the bits of yellow just pops to me and stands out. The stern, ready to fight yellow eyes, and the little bomb or missile thing he seems to have. The face on that just cracks me up. He almost looks like a chibi Stingmon, which I think is part of the reason I find him so appealing. The Stingmon family is my favorite in all of Digimon, with Wormmon actually being my favorite Digimon overall, despite my previous RPG personae saying otherwise. I mean, seriously, you guys have no idea how happy it made me to find out there was a Boncho Stingmon. a while ago, that Stingmon got to be one of the 5 Bancho Digimon, filled me with so much happiness. Anyway, I find it no surprise as well that the first shown off app fuse is Doe Cmon, which is Gatchmon and Nav Iman. And it makes sense, searching for a location. Puns, visual puns. And the intros will now look like this going forward. So there we go. Let's move on to the next Digimon, Doe Cmon. Doe Cmon, our Vmon Gumdramon looking hybrid thing with giant metal fists reminiscent of Mach Gaugamon, and also sporting metal feet, much like Gatchmon, so that's an interesting bit to note. I like the look of him to a point, I suppose. I'm not the biggest Vmon fan, or Gumdramon fan for that matter, so there is a lot of bias skewed in there, you know. Just because it looks something that looks like one ate the other. I'll have to see what his on-screen personality is like in October and see if the Digimon wins me over that way. Though so far, I suppose just by the look of him and the artwork that's out, we can guess that he's sort of a high-spirited Digimon with a shoot first, ask later sort of nature, or I suppose punch first, like Masaru. Like if he's a Digimon version of Masaru, he'll win me over like that. Now, we also know he can app fuse with an Appmon called Perorimon to become Doe Cmon. I don't know if that's meant to be Doscomon, but the spelling I have is Doe Cmon. So it's kind of a scary looking, mostly cyborg Digimon, to be fair, which the mostly cyborg bit I guess makes sense when you consider Doe Gatchmon. But funnily enough, I was convinced Raidramon would be one of his evolutions. Maybe it still will be. I haven't seen anything to say otherwise, but, you know, Raidramon could be something else entirely. What we can see also is he wears a black t-shirt. And I have to ask what the Digimon are doing wearing clothing this series. It's a big change. Or is this an Appmon only sort of thing to distinguish them further from regular Digimon? I mean, look, I don't mind it, and I don't even dislike it. It's just once it sort of dawns on you, it's sort of, hey, wait a minute, what? But anyway, let's move on to the last Digimon, Cameraman. Cameraman, or Chibi Beelzebumon if you prefer. No, seriously, look at him. Not an awful lot of pics available to get a good look at the guy, but he does look like he'll use the camera lenses in his right hand as a large multi-blast gun of some sort, while the scope on his face is likely to help with aiming and getting the perfect shot. Camera gun puns. Anyway, I can't say a lot for the lenses on his armor though. Design wise, it doesn't work as well for me as say Musemon's speakers. But I do feel that this Digimon could be good as either a sort of sniper Digimon or a Beelzemon blast mode or even Cross War style arm cannon wielding Digimon. I do think I'll like him in the show though come October. The Chibi Beelzemon look stands out to me a lot more now than when it was first revealed. But again, I put that down to trying to process all the new information at once. And even at the start of this, I did say how dismissive I was of everything, design-wise. But just taking closer looks at things, you know, I'm starting to be won over. Moving on, in the next video, we'll take a look at the human characters, who I'm not so won over on yet. I have no names available for them either, except for Haru. And we're going to kick off the video with Haru, since he's the protagonist. And my feelings on him haven't really changed much, but we'll look at that in part 2. So I hope you'll join me there, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble on about the Digimon. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.